All right, here I am in front of my house. As everybody probably knows by now, we have had not favorable weather here for the past couple of weeks. We've had torrential rains, warm weather, melting all the snow in the mountains, flooding all the rivers and the valleys. Luckily, I live just above South Prairie that got pretty flooded. And then last week we had a pretty good windstorm, which is leaving all these little twigs and cones and sticks all over my yard. And then back here is my plum tree, which I resurrected. It was dying. 2 years ago, all I got were 3 plums off of that thing, and this past year I got 30, 40, 50 or more off of it, so it's doing really good now. Oh, there's a little squirrelio. Alright, squirrel, want to be on YouTube? There you go, do your tricks. Do your thing there, little squirrel. Look at him go. Yeah, he likes to hang out on my... Oh, he's probably up there behind the tree now. There he is. Anyway, it's blowing my furniture around pretty, or it did blow the furniture around pretty good. Blew this one way over here. Sticks, tree branches, leaves, everywhere. So, we're gonna have to re-rake again. Sticks, twigs, branches, blowing all over my yard. It's a good thing that the temperature dropped, though. That way the flooding subsides. When the temperature goes up, after it melts all the snow in the mountains, you just flood everything. Everything gets flooded. You know what that is? Probably told you that before. That's a lightning strike. Yeah. So, let's get to it. Put this thing on the old noggin, grab a rake, start raking up sections, getting blower out, blowing everything nice and clean. Cool. All right, cold start. To move these cars to get it cleaned out underneath. Yeah. My parents had this deck built 35 years ago. Cost them 5,000 bucks to have this deck built. And I said, what? $5,000? Good Lord. Shit. You couldn't even buy the materials now for that. Just in materials, I'd say to build this deck now is, you know, between 5 and 10 grand. Probably. There used to be a fascia across here, and all of these are all rotten out. Oh well, one of these days, I'll get to it. Maybe. Caught up back in here. Gotta get out. Get out. Just keep moving them on down like dominoes. All right, you. What are you, drunk? Get up here. That's where I draw the line. All right. Let's put this over here. It's full of water. Ooh, rusty water. We'll just leave that on its side for now. And that's 2-stroke. I believe that's what I took out of the YZ before I did the tank repair.
I'm gonna go see Mom. You wanna come with?
No, I got too much to do. How much octane is left in this fuel, that's a different story. But it'll burn it. This little Toro's actually been pretty faithful. Most of the time I buy a blower and it lasts maybe one season before it just absolutely takes a dump. Most of the time I buy a blower, it just doesn't run right out of the box. But this one did. The extension nozzle there was conveniently lost for me. I wish I had it. It works better with it. Little piece here. You know what I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. That piece that's still missing there. Come on. Pick it up. Nope, gonna have to do this. There we are. There it is. All right, let's do some raking, shall we? And that green you see in that lawn is mostly moss. No matter how much moss killer I put on it over there, it doesn't kill it. Does not kill it. And I'm not going to do a spring clean. I'm just going to do a maintenance so it doesn't get so hard to clean in the spring. This ladder holds down this tarp for the two partial bikes that are underneath it. Hold that tarp down now. You're doing a great job. And that washer and dryer actually works if anybody wants them. This is where I grow my leaves and my sticks. And over there I got a nice garden of sticks and leaves. It's pretty impressive. Don't these look like they belong out in the ocean? No, they grow on trees and on your roof. One time, me and my buddy Pete, we were up hunting. It was October, I believe, something like that. He got a deer about an hour before sunset or so. So we went to a spot where he knows where to pick mushrooms. We went up there and picked some chanterelles, fried them up with some backstrap that night over an open fire on a cast iron pan. Oh boy, you ain't never had nothing so delicious. Fresh deer meat. I got lots of hunting stories. Want to hear another one? Same guy, my buddy Pete. I should say he's up hunting. I'm just there to help. It's not legal for me to hunt at that point in time. So, one time, he just turned 18 years old. And he wants to go up hunting without his dad and his mom, which we usually went up hunting with. And so we go up hunting. We spend a good part of the morning just looking for something. And then we go way up high up in Greenwater. Next thing you know, we're looking down a clear cut. Those of you who don't know what a clear cut is, it's a steep part of the mountain where they just clear all the trees out and they cut them all down and they drag them up the hill real steep. So we see this deer or elk, excuse me, bunch of them, females, cows. There's a bunch of cows down there, and he's like, oh, there's no horns, no antlers down there. I said, yeah, you just wait and see, there's something down there. Next thing you know, a big old bull elk stands up. There he is. He's in the velvet because in this excursion was an early season for him because he was Nooksack Indian at the time. And so his season opened up late August, which is kind of unheard of. But it was legal, and we went up, and we got that elk. Took us a long time to get that elk out because the clear cut was too steep. I just had the heart and the liver trying to carry it up to my truck. And it was too steep, man. And it was way up there, so the oxygen is not as thick as it is down low. So I was pretty exhausted climbing up that clear cut with the heart and the liver. So I said, no way we're getting up here. And I'm yelling down to them, there's no way. We're not getting out that way. That's too big a elk. So I saw a road from my vantage point looking down onto them. And they're right at the edge of the clear cut where the trees are starting growing. They stopped cutting down there. That's where they were all laying. So we got it down there. We don't quarter, I think do we quarter it up? I think we just do it in thirds. Yeah, we quartered it. Chest, arms, legs, the back half. And so I see a trail which looked like it was closer than it was. Another road down low. So I'm gonna go down there. So I go and I find that spot and I walk back up, and it's farther from where we were at the truck by a long shot, probably 3 times. But, you know, it was downhill, so I thought it was gonna be easy. What I didn't see through there was a creek and fallen trees, and my God, it took us a long time to get that elk out of there. Hauling it under trees, over fallen trees, through the creek, holding guns, holding, you know, front quarters, rear quarters. So by the time we actually got out of that place was, I don't know, it may have been 6:30. Of course, this is summer in Washington, you guys, so it's still light out. They don't get dark till like 9:30 at that time of the year. So we still have a lot of light left to get back and dress the rest of that elk out. So we throw it in my truck, we finally get it down there. We're tired. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever drug an elk for hours and hours up over fallen trees, and that's Pete's MO. He's always got to shoot them in the weirdest places. So we got it down into the truck. We're tired. We drive down 410 out of Greenwater, and we're going through Enumclaw. So if anybody knows Enumclaw, it's just 410 runs right through Enumclaw, and then it splits off and goes to 164. Turns into Auburn Enumclaw Highway 164. So we take that little spur and we go off. And we're on 164 and we're just out of town. Next thing you know, Enumclaw police comes up behind me, turns his lights on. Oh, we're great, I said. So I pull over. The first thing I roll down, well, I don't know if I rolled it down, but my window might have already been down. The cop says, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say will be held against you in a court of law. Do you understand these?" I'm like, yeah. We understand all that, but why? He goes, "Well, can you explain the elk in the back?" And I said, well, my buddy says, "Why didn't you just say so?" And he pulls out all his Indian ID, his federal ID, Washington State ID, hunting tag. Well, the tag was already on the elk, but his license, all that stuff. And he says, "All right, hold on, wait here." Next thing you know, more police coming up, pulling in front, pulling on the side, pulling around the back. Pretty soon, I don't even know how many, 6 cars, 5 cars. And it was looking pretty nice over there. So the next thing you know, we're still sitting there. We're there for 35, 45 minutes, just sitting there. It's getting late. And the next thing you know, the officer, he walks up to my window and he says, my window's open, and in my, I had a 73 four-wheel drive Power Wagon manual, and he throws everybody's ID on the floor at our feet. He throws them real hard. He says, "Get out of here." And you didn't have to tell me twice, huh? Start the truck up and take off. And we thought that was the end of that. We go home and we take photos of the elk. Now, since it was so early in the season, the elk was still in the velvet. So it was a beautiful, huge rack. The eye guards were really big. This thing was a beautiful, beautiful rack. Velvet all over it. And, you know, we rest, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think it was a Sunday when we did that. So I go to work. A few days later, you know, we're just carrying on. We didn't do nothing wrong. We were all legal. Next thing you know, I get a page. I work in a warehouse. I was a supervisor at a motorcycle assembly plant at, God, how old was I? 21. Already running that shop. Anyway, I've been there 2 years and I was running it. So, I get a call. You got a phone call. So I go in. It's my brother's girlfriend. Hey, Jeff, I think I just did something bad. The game wardens were here. They were looking in the back. See, at the time I had 2 trucks, a 2-wheel drive Dodge and a 4-wheel drive. They're looking in the back of your truck. I had the 4-wheel drive one, which we used to transport the elk out of the mountains. And the 2-wheel drive was at the house. They came here and they want to know where you were. And I told them where you work. So if you're in trouble, you better get out of there now, because I just told them you probably got, 30 minutes before they get there. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm not in any trouble, but next time, don't be giving any information out about me to anyone, whether you know them or not, whether I know them or not. Anyway, she's like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. So I wait, 45 minutes come by, 35 minutes, 45 minutes. Next thing you know, I see Officer White and Snow. I kid you not, that was their names. I remember it, because we used to see them up in Greenwater all the time up there, the Rangers, So I knew them from being up in the mountains a lot. He walks up to me. Well, first of all, I'm looking, probably farther than those trailers, and I'm deep down in the shop, and I see somebody point back there at me, and 2 green jeans are walking up. Next thing you know, it was the older one was, God, if I remember right, he was Officer White. He was the white guy, and the black guy was Officer Snow. So they come up to me, and I look out there, and Snow's looking in the back of my truck, taking and putting in baggies, hair and shit like that, and blood or whatever he was trying to dig out of there. And White comes up. First thing he said to me, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say will be held against you in a court of law, blah, 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 blah. Attorney this, attorney that. Do you understand? I said, yeah. What's going on? What are you here for? Well, I said, is this because of the Enumclaw police? He's like, what do you mean, Enumclaw police? What are you talking about? I said, oh yeah, me and my Indian buddy were hunting up there. Me and a couple guys were up hunting, and my Indian buddy got something. It was an early season for him, so he's Nooksack Indian, and you could just see his face getting red. What? Indians? Nobody told me about any Indians. I said, yeah. And I said, the Enumclaw police pulled us over, and they held us there for about 45 minutes, and then they got mad and threw all our IDs and all that stuff on the floor of my truck and told us we could go. Oh, that makes me mad, he says. I'm really angry. All I know is we got a call, a few days ago, and I'm pretty sure it was the day that we shot the elk, or he shot the elk. I was just there and helping him pull it out of the mountains. And he says, all we know is we heard 3 white guys poached an elk, and gave us your license plate number, and it took me 3 days to track you down. And I'm like, oh yeah? No, my buddy's an Indian. It was early season for him this year, and so we went up there and he shot the elk, and I just helped him put it in my truck and drug it in. And he's like, he's mad. I mean, you don't even know what to say. He's beside himself. All I know is if you weren't supposed to be there, I'll be back. Of course, the only time I ever seen him was back up in the mountains. He never came back to arrest me. It's perfectly legal for me to be there. I can touch the dead animal. I can't kill it. I can track it. I can't kill it. I can hold the guns. I can't kill it. So, that was that exciting story. Petey got me arrested twice, technically, over his animal. Yep. White and Snow. Those guys are probably dead by now. Well, at least White is. Snow might have gotten to a ripe old age. They were probably my age when they were, or at least White was probably 60. Snow was probably in his late 40s. And so that was what, 88? Yep. Maybe they're not alive anymore. Yep. Okay. This is looking a lot better. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was me raking my yard. How exciting is that? Cool. You guys get out there and rake your yard, damn it. Clean it up. I'm gonna get the blower back out and get all these other little piles. I would really like to get this moved out of my driveway today, but there's nobody to help me. Nobody within 100 miles probably, or at least 25. We'll give you a shot of this after they're all picked up. Time to pick up the piles. Should I pick that one up too? Yeah. Pick it up. Next July, this will all be brown again and dead. Get out there. Clean your yard up. Make it happen.